Okay, so let's see. 5 years ago, last day of 2018. I know this was probably not hard for people to remember me or anything like that. I haven't lectured in a number of years. But primarily the reason why I haven't over the last 5 years is because I had terminal cancer. I was fighting for my life. And last year, I talked to Robin about doing an event. Because I thought, I think I got at least one more lecture in me at least. I want to know that I got to do it at least one more time before I hang up my hat for good. I don't know. But I'm not going to go into too much detail. I just want everybody to know that I'm going to do the math now. 56, 50, I think 56. So I didn't get the big camera check colonoscopy, and I urge everybody to have to go do it because when I discovered I had cancer, it was stage 4. I was going to get early, check in and see what because my symptoms when they began showing. I was a typical guy that said, it's probably something broke that'll heal itself, fix itself, but it never did. So then I ended up going through 5 years that I did not want to show my work down. Mike is up here talking about the situation. I can think about what's all the times the moments you're by yourself and your mind becomes your worst enemy. It's a little hard sometimes to find that part of you that says, you know what, life is still worth living, push on. So here I am, and I'm going to keep going. So what I want to do, I want to ask you guys, how many people in this room are investigators? How many people actually go out and actually investigate? I'm so glad to see you guys. This is what this is about, because when I originally started traveling and lecturing back in 2007, I had learned by that point that I was doing a lot of stuff that I wasn't reading about, all these books that I was going out and buying, because I don't know about y'all, but I used to go out and I would find something in a book section somewhere that had something to do with ghost hunting or paranormal investigations. And it was always that, essentially a paranormal 101 books. You know what I'm talking about? You buy this one, it was the basics. I think I got the Troy Taylor, I'm sure you've heard of Troy Taylor's Ghost Hunter's Guidebook. Anybody got that? That's been out there for a while. That was a good book, it covered a lot of stuff. But I found this, the more I went and bought more books that tried to tell you different things about learning about who you work in paranormal, they were always these 101 books. Everything was the same, written by different authors in different ways, but it was all basically the same thing. And eventually I've got a bookshelf that's, 5 racks of books. And there might be a smidgen of something in there that's different that the others don't have. And after a while, I just kind of fortunate. So then I started doing the work, and I began realizing that what I was watching on television was not what I was going to end up doing because there were too many questions I had and no answers. And it used to bug me when I heard phrases like, well, they say that EMF, blah, 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 concerning ghosts. They say, someone said, and I get tired of hearing that on television shows, so I started looking for these answers. I want to find out who said this. There was nobody. There was no documented anything anywhere of anybody making that claim or even being able to prove that claim. So I started finding other ways to do the work. We all know that you've got different approaches. You've got the scientific approach. You've got the psychic approach. Some are blended. I took a different path altogether. Decided to kind of lay my own trail and do it my own way. I took a psychological approach because obviously we're looking for another intelligence. This embodied someone. So I thought, there's a whole lot of things that came to mind. I was kind of getting ahead of myself. I'm going to shoot through here for a second. This book was created so that if those of you out there that are investigators that are tired of the 101s had something new to play with. Just answer that question. Okay, the end result of this, obviously, is that I'm going to try and get some minds to talk and think outside the box and try some new approaches and different things. How many of you, by show of hands, have had less than 5 years in the field doing this work? Okay, well, you're definitely gonna pick up a lot of stuff. Some of this stuff is probably rehashed because, again, I started this stuff in 2007. I started talking about it, and some of it's managed to, grip and hang on to and be grabbed by the masses and used. Okay. This is an interesting topic that I've always found. Again, we're trying to talk to another intelligence here. So what this slide is representing is how I change things as far as going to a location and trying to get the jump on whatever it was that I was going to find. The game I play is, let's pretend you're not dead. Let's say that whoever you're going to look for in a location has not left us yet. Okay? Go to the house. Okay? Let's say we'll flip it. Now, you're the ghost, the investigator comes to the house. They open the door and come in because maybe they paid to come investigate, or maybe the current owners have decided to have you in the location. Okay? If I came to your house and you didn't know me, and I just barged right in with the door, what's your stance? What are you probably going to do, or how are you going to interpret this? There's a whole lot of different minds and ways of answering that kind of situation. But most times, I would be, if it's me, I'd be a little defensive because, what, I didn't invite you. You're here, and now I got to deal with it. And that aspect really gave me a lot of deep thoughts about what translates after you die concerning your senses, attitudes, your habits, all of that. Some people believe that when you die, you get this amazing Encyclopedia Britannica of information, including all the stuff that no one would ever be able to figure out anyway. You had to know after you die. I don't believe that at all. If that was true, why would a ghost, apparition, whatever you call it, why would it want to continue to stay at that location? There has to be reasons for something. Now, again, we're dealing with something that reacts to your visit. It's probably going to take a defensive stance. So how do you change that? How do you flip that? How do you make it to where it's something that's advantageous to you as opposed to whoever it is you're looking for? So I thought, okay, we used to wear shirts that had that on. The logo on the left. The problem we had with that was, if I was in a house and you came in and I saw everybody wearing these shirts and that was printed on it, I already know your business. I probably know what you're after. I'm not going to give you time today, especially if I'm already at a defensive stance, right? Now, what if you changed it and it was just a logo? Nobody knows what that is. So now what we're doing is we're maintaining a level of curiosity. When you're taking away the natural reaction of having something go completely defensive on you, we'll just leave it until you're gone and then come back. You want it to be there. You don't want to be intrusive. You want them to stay curious about you. So that's going to be worked to your advantage. That's how you're going to be able to maybe figure out what's going on or solve the riddle of the day or whatever. So that's what we did. We just converted those two, that logo to that logo, and we had much more success. It was better. And it was just the smallest details. Right? So this was the next step that I decided to do. We don't have audio recorders. We're all using those on locations. I thought, how do we use that information I just had and get the jump on a location? Let's say they took a defensive stance anyway. There's a location that whatever's there is not happy it's there. A lot of people I knew were going into the location, they were taking their audio recorders, they were doing their planning and stuff, and layout, everybody's grabbing their stuff. It's like, okay, the 2 or 3 of us in this group are going to go over here, and you get set up to do an EVP session, you start your recorders, how the protocols are for that. And you've already lost your chance at possibly having an advantage in this situation. Okay? Why? If I was that ghost at a location, came to my place, maybe it's the 3rd time someone's come by the house because the owners, they're convinced there's something in there. And so now you've got the 3rd team of investigators coming by. really just kind of pissing you off. Now they don't want you there. Now they're getting a little upset about it. Now maybe they're going to tell you why they're upset about it, or just tell you to just take a flying. We're live, right? Okay, so we decided that before we got to the location when we were close or we were on the property in the driveway but haven't exited the vehicle, we thought, why not try this? Get everybody in sync now, start your audio recorders. Before you ever get out of the car, get everything rolling, normal protocols you'd have if you were in a group and you're going to start doing this, and do it then. Because if you get out of that car and you approach that location that, as investigators, you've never been to before, there may be something that hear you pull up outside, poke their nose out, see, what's going on. They see your shirt, they can't figure out quite what it is, but they're trying to guess. Maybe they're mad, they start screaming and hollering, get out of here, I can't stand you, and all the other expletives that we all sometimes catch on audio. But this time, you've been taking the extra step. You're in front of the situation. You are ready for this. And so now, there's a chance that at the beginning, and this has worked for me on a couple of occasions, you got voices recorded, and you literally haven't even done the work yet. And that's wonderful to be able to do something like that right off the bat. I mean, if somebody's looking for some kind of proof on property, that covers that base. And that's a big part of this, is trying different ways and methods to cover the bases when you think you really can't. I've got several of those. So, does that make sense? Has anybody ever done that? Man, this is nice. I was waiting for everybody to go, yeah, we done did that. Move on. But yeah, that's an investigator. He that was a little girl. Did you ever do Octagon Hall, Brad? No, I never did that. That's where I did a majority of research there and another place. Has anybody ever heard of Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee? I did invest. I was the second person to go into that place and investigate it long before anybody knew what it was. It's a great place. That was the hottest place I've ever been to. If you get a chance, go. You won't regret it. Here we are getting set up in the car. This is just some slides, but the idea is you see what we're doing. And this is literally taking place just before we went into the Octagon Hall, which was also in the previous shot. But in the previous shot, that is the little girl's room. There's a little girl that haunts the location. I've got an awesome story I'll tell you about during this. There's a little girl there that loves to interact. She's awesome. It was Mary Elizabeth, died in a fire in the downstairs, I guess in the kitchen. Had a fireplace there around, and she was running around the table. Drug her dress over it. Pre-Civil War days, no flame retardant. Poof. And she was badly burned. It was long. But she loves to talk. She would talk. And that was the room that she was in. One of the next covering base. This is awesome. That's the question we all want to know, right? You went into a location, you want to do an EVP session, but where's the ghost in relation to where you are? You know? We're all taking chances. It's in the dark, right? You don't know. But how do you cover that? How do you prepare for something like that? That's another one. There's no assurances. It's just blind watching faith, right? That's what I used to think. But there's actually ways around it. DVRs. How many of y'all got DVR systems? How many have more than 4 cameras on? How many have more than 8? How many average rooms are there in a location? Is that all of them? There's a lot of places that have 10, 12, sometimes more. Gosh, if you want to go to some of the places I call pay-to plays, you probably will never have enough rooms. And usually when the activity takes place, what happens? It's always in rooms. I don't have a camera. How many times has that ever happened to you? I hate that. So you're thinking to yourself, DVR system, I'm still not getting stuff. You all that? This is something that I decided to do, because I gave more thought to the senses that a ghost retains after you move on. I'm going to show these slides. If you were somewhere, anywhere, and you saw a sign that said, if you can read this, it doesn't say, if so-and-so can read it. The word you is used for a reason, because whoever is observing the sign thinks it refers to them. And then you've got a request underneath. You just open the door. I've got several of these doing different things. You can put all kinds of cats under there. Turn off the light, lock a chair. I've got roll them up. Let me go through a couple of these real quick, and I'll show you some of the others we've got. Okay, that one is a really good one. That one happened to me once. That one I've not had work for me. That was a fun one that I wanted to try. I was hoping to get a good result from, but I hadn't. I mean, that one here, you just put a quarter to the left with that arrow, leave it on the table, put a camera next to it. Put a camera next to any room where you've got these hung up. Don't worry about it. Just leave. Just leave. Let it set. Put a camera on it. You can use your DVR if you want. I have thoughts about DVRs that I'll tell you about shortly that kind of annoy me. When I was doing this stuff way back in 2007, 2006, I don't know, we had a DVR system. Those things were crazy expensive. And now I hear they've really come down a lot. Better video and whatnot. But at the time, we were using camcorders because we couldn't even get a DVR. And then we finally got the DVR. We were still having this problem. This was great because you could set it up, put a camera on it, leave it alone, and things could happen. So, let's go back a step. I was at OSTH, Old Southwestern Hospital, and we had a sign out there hung on the door that says, you read this, please open the door. We put it, it's a hospital, we've got a million doors. So we talked to the owners, had it set on the door, left it alone. Don't you know, the door was observed opening and it was recorded opening. It just started randomly happening. Never used to. That leads me to believe that we are dealing with intelligence because they hang up the sign, they obviously can read it, they obviously follow instructions. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do with that. That was how we overcame the situation with doing AP sessions. Yeah, those are random. So if you're looking to, trying to get better evidence, different kinds of evidence, that's a great way to pursue that. Right? So that's what we did as far as interacting with something that we can't see. I do agree with Brad Berry concerning the fact that a lot of paranormal activity is not something that you can sit and follow. There's a ghost and you're going to follow him down the hallway. What's he going to do next? Oh, look, he's juggling. Oh, no, what happened? It's spurts. It's quick. It's short, and you got to be in the right place at the right time. But as far as provoking, I'm going to reach out to our favorite friend, Zach Bates, who used to do this stuff. That was his big deal. Yeah, I did an event with him. He told me that when we were doing the show, it wasn't enough. They wanted more. They were constantly after us to do it. So it was like, we either could cancel or we did it. So I did it. That's the way it was. Like, okay, Zach, whatever. But anyway, we all know what it is. Basically trying to confront something. Let's see. People use this method. Use the resort when nothing else seems to be working. And it's harmful. You don't think about a few things. My big thing was, I didn't want to go somewhere and do something like this. Especially, when you have an impressionable public and there's no warning given, maybe you guys shouldn't try this at home. I was worried that people were going into people's houses. You call me, I go to your house, there's something bothering you, and I start screaming about, whatever, show yourself, or you coward, you this, you that, and you piss something off. And it's not fair because I get to leave the location, but you got to stay there. You got to live with that. You got to, adjust your life around what the stuff's about. Then you got the other thing, and Brad mentioned it earlier. Will the stuff follow you home, you damn? I'm sure, and lots of occasions you don't realize it, something will follow you home. It may not affect you. Maybe it knows it can't scare you, but it doesn't mean your family's off the table. Kids, the whole thing, And if you can't discern whether or not you're dealing with a demon or a disgruntled, spirit, now you got a whole other level of problems you got to deal with. And that's not fair to anybody. But I gave this a lot of thought. And a situation happened to my sister-in-law that had the solution for the problem that I was dealing with. This is something that everyone could do, and it's probably not going to lead to the problems that the aforementioned can lead to. Okay? You ever been over to your friend's house or a relative's house? You got a neat street. I mean, you can't set a drink down without the coaster coming out. Whoa, hold on. You left that door open. I know you just got a spoon. Shut it if you don't mind, please. Close that door all the way. Left the door open. So I thought, that's pretty interesting. I wonder if we can use that because my sister-in-law had just inherited her, was it mother-in-law? Yeah. Inherited their house, and she was like that. And so my sister-in-law was not what I would consider to be a freak. Used to go into the kitchen, get herself something out of cupboards, put together whatever she was going to snack on or eat, walk out of the kitchen, and left a couple cupboards open. And while she was sitting there in front of the TV, alone, no one else in the house, you could hear the sound of the cupboards one by one being closed. Boom, boom. She go back out, they're all closed. And I thought, let's see, okay, this might work to our advantage. This might be something we can use. All right. Does that make sense? I mean, you're really not pissing it off. You're not making it mad. I don't know if I can get a keyboard today, so I'm sorry I keep saying it. But it's going to get a reaction out of something, and you're not going to really just ruffle feathers and wow whatever. It's all about not getting into situations where whoever's living there now has to deal with fallout. And that means a lot. How many people operate as investigators in a group? You see some hands? Okay. What's that? Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's fine. How many independent people do we have doing into investigations? That could be you and your spouse, or you and one other person. Okay. Because I did the group thing for a while. And one of the things that was a pitfall for me was my group got to grow a little bit too big. So you get into those dynamics where things aren't quite working out as they should. You know what? They were all about television and all the time. Because TV was not working out the way that I thought it was going to be nice. I was concerned with ad revenue. Man, so I didn't want to part of it. They still wanted television. So I decided to do my thing. And that does a lot of things. So anyway, that's what I did. I did indirect provoking. It just seemed like the smart thing to do. Everybody disagree? I think I was doing something good. Okay. Paranormal environment. This is something I don't think a lot of people cover and think about. Something you got to consider in trying to outsmart whoever may be at the location. And that second point is really drives it home. Now, you've heard people talk about, I need to watch this. You've heard people talk about, you don't have to investigate. You can investigate today. It's true. But during the day, we found that traffic outside sometimes is a lot more than what you would expect. The levels are higher. There's a whole lot of distractions going on in your environment that isn't going on at night. So in that instance, when you have less cars driving by, TV isn't on because they're watching it now. There's so much, it's more serene. You tend to notice things a little better. You can hear things better at night than you can at the day, just because of the noise which is going on. So, let's see here. We'll change here. When I mentioned, and I'm going to cover some stuff on some EVP techniques. When everybody does EVP sessions, you see them doing on television a lot. You go in, ask your questions, you pause for answers, you do reviews later. It's kind of the same old ride. Anybody else do it a different way?
Sometimes we'll do like this, and we have just a conversation among ourselves, and just leave EVP.
I like it.
And then one time, we were at a location where they said that there was some high school male.
Mm-hmm.
So we came up with let's play poker and have them play cards with us. And we were getting responses on that where they would play poker or whatever. I didn't know what I was doing because I gave the cards.
Right.
It was amazing, and the whole atmosphere in the house after that did not feel hostile because we went to their house and we included them in our party. We treated it like we were guests and treated them like they were us.
This is important. I'm not going to say I'm the one that developed this. I'm just a person to know of it just like she has. You don't have to ask questions in the environment. You don't have to do that. In fact, remember when I was talking about keeping the curiosity levels high and whatnot? If you don't put somebody on the spot, because it's bad enough you're going into a location, they didn't invite you there, and they're already on edge because you are because you're wearing the right logo. You don't know what you're about. Let's say you decide that you're going to talk about something, maybe you've done research on the individual, and they've got certain things that they like, so you're going to talk about subject matter that relates to them. They're going to feel more enticed to join into your conversation. Money conversations are good. Anything that you think that they would probably understand or relate to or miss being able to do because they can't do it from the other side or whatever, that kind of stuff draws them out. You just make a statement. You're not asking them questions, so they don't feel threatened that, if again, we're going to flip the situation. Your ghost is now a human being walking on them, and you're like, hey, what do you think? And they're like, I don't even know who you are. Why are you including me on this? Spotlight's on you. What's your answer? I think it's better to remove all that, and when they feel comfortable, they talk. That's happened lots of
You're left among yourself, and your football start going off, so it's like you're enjoying your.
That's possible. That's very possible. It's hard for me to interpret a lot of gadgets. I call them gadgets, any kind of a blinky like gadget, because I never know for sure what it's supposed to be doing, why it's supposed to be doing. Audio, it's a little easier to discern. You're making your statements, and suddenly it's like in a situation I had. I was at a location one time. It was a house built by some German company. We were talking. It's me, another guy, in my kitchen. The owner was gone. Nobody's there. Just us. And we caught a female speaking German. We don't even know what she said. I mean, I had to look at some of it. I could figure out some of it. But she was definitely female. She had some tone to her voice. But you could tell the way that the comment was made, it was like she was just adding it in. It wasn't like she was screaming at us, you know? So their interpretation of that situation, how they talk to you, can sometimes be determined by how you deal with the session. And that's why I would prefer keeping that passive too, because it calls a new word, it's great. So, you were right.
We've had experiences where we'll talk to somebody in foreign language. We have people who speak German, French.
Right.
And we've actually had good conversations. They were answering, and somebody else was interpreting what's being said.
Right.
And we've had that quite a few times.
I think sometimes people don't realize it's just because we speak English doesn't mean everybody does. You don't die and automatically pick up every language. Again, this is all in that. How does it translate when you pass away? You know, learn all this new stuff you didn't before. I struggle with electronics. I don't think it would die. Suddenly you understand how electronics work. And you just kind of pop in and talk to somebody unless what you're using is something that's receptive to certain situations. Okay. Yeah. You ever done that? You ever walked into a room and heard the voices?
2 days ago.
Yeah, but that was my.
No, I walked into a place, and only 2 of us in there. One of them was talking on the phone. I walked in, she get down to the kitchen, the guy's voice was, hello.
Audible voice. What do you do? You hear an audible voice. What do you do?
I say thanks.
Right, carry on a conversation.
So that's a kind of a odd situation to be in. Most cases, it's been my experience a lot of times when you have somebody you're walking along and you hear a voice. If you say something, 9 times out of 10, they won't say another thing. You'll never hear another voice. And that falls back on the whole, I wasn't expecting them. When did they get here? Oh no, we can't talk now because now they're talking. I'm kind of bashful to talk to people like that. So, in a situation like that, for me, if I'm around anybody, I hear a voice, I won't talk. In fact, usually when we're moving location, we don't talk in between locations. We just stay quiet until we get there because we're looking for stuff like that. You know, there's been cases where people are going through a building, and they're walking, and you can hear somebody, and someone might say, "I'm going to do the owner of the locations here." And it's still, you know, they're walking, eventually they say something. Voice never talks again. So that's why, you know, you're kind of preserving that situation. I think sometimes you might walk into view of something that was talking. Even if you haven't said anything, that can happen. Oh, I love this question. Does anybody know what you shouldn't say?
Yeah, do you know your dad?
I hate that. It's a good one. Now, let's say, for instance, Rose Hotel. How many people have gone through there? Okay. Now, I'm going to ask Mike, how many people have you had go through the Rose Hotel? How many people have used it? Lost count? Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything else you can think of that you shouldn't say when you go, let's just say, for instance, the Rose Hotel? Shit, got time? Can you give me a sign of your presence? How many times do you think they hear that? If I was in a location and I hear that line, it's like, oh, it's them again. Oh, you guys ready to go to work? This isn't fun anymore. I would never use that. If you're going to a location that's never been investigated, I don't care, fire away. If you're going to a place that's already had several investigations, don't waste your time with that.
Go select Rose in the zoo.
Right? So it's just irritating because, I mean, it just doesn't seem like something that would bring activity, more or less kind of drive it away. Because, I mean, my whole thing is, if it's me there, I wouldn't want to hear that 50th time. I wouldn't hear it 20th time. Because right away, you probably already know that line gives away not only what you want, but it also lets them know what you're trying to do, because they've already know, ooh, not gonna fool me. I know what this is about. And the idea is you want to keep that curiosity. Make sense? Good. Communicating with children. When I say children, I'm talking about child spirits or ghosts. Gosh. I forgot a hall. I told you about Mary Elizabeth, the little girl that's out there. Oh boy. There was a team that was out there. They went, investigated. There's an area outside of the building that has a little cemetery, a slave cemetery. They walked all the way out there, the group went out there. They did their EEP sessions and did their work out there. And on the way back, one of them was kind of going, they started singing Blinded by the Light. Everybody know that one? That's the old version. That's right. So it's a cute song. It was kind of relevant, kind of served the purpose. And they started walking back kind of single file, singing that song. For whatever reason, they all laughed about it and they were singing. They stopped, walked on. They all had their audio running the whole time. They walked all the way back to the house, got in the house, and continued what they were doing. Later on, when they went back, there's a little girl trying to sing Blinded by the Light and can't do it. But she's trying really damn hard. She's got the words. She's getting close. Probably better than I can figure out. But the thing is, she's participating. And that's one of the things you're trying to do with children. You want them to interact. They're more susceptible to tricks and cues and things that you perform on site. And so you think to yourself, well, what's some good ways to do stuff like that? And so I took that into consideration when I was coming up with some of the stuff that we did. A lot of people talk to the children, trying to do things that children like to do, and that's nice. There's a lot of different common ways to interact with children. You can do that with living. You can translate it to situations paranormal. The one that worked the best for us was that we would learn nursery rhymes, common nursery rhymes. Nursery rhymes that have been around long enough that whatever it is that's been on the location probably has heard them. Kids love to join in on this. So here you are, plan out which one you want to do. You talk amongst yourselves and you start singing. We were singing, what was it? Row, row, your boat, or something like that. Just something simple, jingle. Not necessarily a nursery rhyme. Ring Around the Rosie's a good one too. And at a certain point, we all just stopped. We just interrupted. Just stop. We cut off. The child didn't know that. So literally, our voices, boom, little child's voice, and that stopped. Like, oh, they're not singing. Caught them. It's a great tactic to use. It's something you can use for the younger spirit. They might pull them off. But I thought it was fun in that something like that could be beneficial in your situations. Something to add to the toolbox of different things you can try while you're out in the field. Let's see. I just discussed that. That's really the best way I can think of it. Anybody, you got another method?
Yeah. A lot of times we'll play games with them, and especially with dowsing rods. We'll hold them out there and say, can you point to something in the room? Somebody can, we'll start pointing. And one time we said, point to a clock. There were actually 3 of them in there, and they went like this to one, and then they moved to another one, and they pointed out the window. We're like, what's the deal? We asked them, what's the deal? All of a sudden, it's like 10 o'clock, and the church steeple started chiming, which is across the street.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, because
We kind of asked about that too. But yeah, they like.
Anybody else got any methods like that? There's a chance we can mix lectures. You're going
Like a real short story, like a real, rather stories out of that.
that works. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got a method?
We have a very famous ghost, an actual stage named Elva. Elva's 4 years old. And while I was hosting there, I would involve her in things to get her to come around the group. I'd say, at the beginning of the tour, I'd say, Elva, come on, baby, we're going to go on a tour. And my fingers would actually turn, I'd get her to hold 2 fingers, and my fingers would actually go about 15 degrees below my body temperature, which is there. We got some great EVPs and things involving her in those things.
One of the things that I'm like to get you next. One of the things that we had was we were using two-way radios. They were small, little, you can see in my experience easy. It's not really hard to get them. You sometimes have to really bear down. And Mary Elizabeth, she and Mike, she went, I love, and that was all we got. She was, I mean, every time we could keep her Mike, which was kind of interesting. Rebecca, you something?
Yeah, I was there one time, along with my son, who was 16 at the time, and when I first get to Ashmore, actually Robin and meeting, so it was during the day. They weren't, well, okay, long story short, they weren't there. Anyway, we were on the 3rd floor, and I saw, I'm gonna get you, so I had the camera, and behind the seat, so I was running through toward the end of the building, where the truck is at. And we veered into the left bedroom and then back through where there was a bathroom and the lattice wall that Robert just cut up there. And I went, oh, gotcha! And I snapped his picture through the lattice, and he was hiding in the bathroom up against the wall. And I swear to you, I showed that picture to people who may ask, who was the kid? And I said, this is not, his name is Albert. And that kid followed me for 2 years. Wow. And yeah, I made him leave because he started messing with my transmission, but he loved hide and seek. So when the kids at home played hide and seek, we would all catch him coming down the stairs and then running back up, and he was a visual for 2 full years.
Something I want to add to that. Again, Octagon Hall. One of the 2 places I talk about too much. In my rounds, they're the best yield for any kind of activity. We talk about hide and seek. There's an event going on. I want to say they were doing a holiday haunted house to raise money. And somebody was doing that. They were like, I'm going to hide, you can't find me. And they ran down the hallway and jumped in a closet. And they thought, that's kind of cute. And they waited in there. And I think they were hoping that somebody else was going to find them. One of us. The door opened up and there was a faceless girl who we all thought was Mary Elizabeth. Popped that door open and was looking in at him, and he flipped out. So it took a little bit to get him out of the closet, and then to get him to come back in the house to come help out with the haunted house, because he was there for the help, So that was really wild. I don't know if I want something like that happen. You're expecting somebody normal, and then there's this faceless person staring at you. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, man, that's true. Let's try it. I use that. Oh, this was a fun one here. The luring technique. Who would have guessed that you could lure something to you without having to look for it? Man, oh man, you're gonna love this. Okay, look at that. Octagon Hall again. I went out there to visit. I had 2 friends who were wanting to shoot a documentary or something. I had invited them to come out. So 2 filmmakers and me were on a location. There was a family of 3 people that was already there. With a man, woman, and a child, a teenage girl. They were already in the building, and I was looking for the caretaker. He was with them. So I met up with them, and his name's Billy. Billy told me, he says, hey, I have a family here. If you don't mind, can I hang out with them and show them how this place, how great it is. I hadn't had plans on doing that. But I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And so the guy told me, he says, yeah, I do paranormal research and whatnot. He was really enthusiastic about it. And, two filmmakers were there. Of course, they were curious about things. Next thing I know, we're all together in the living room. The middle floor, it's got 3 floors. In the middle floor, we're talking about some stuff. And this family, the father was telling me, he says, I've been out here on 3 occasions and weird stuff has happened. I said, really? Like what? He says, well, there's a girl that wanted to come out and record some audio here and see if she could get some EVPs, and I was with her. And she was having problems trying to get the audio off of her audio recorder into a computer, right? And okay, he says, yeah, well, I was doing that, and while I was trying to help her out, I heard a thump upstairs. And then I heard another thump. You know, it got distracting. I didn't know what it was. It was really distracting. And so he said, don't make me come up there, you know. And he went back to doing what he was doing. He finally got tired of hearing thumping. He went up to the top floor, and something was up there that he could see. He said, and it rushed him when he was on the stairs, flying through him. He said, it's just like somebody had put me in an icebox. He said, it took every ounce of my energy to walk back down those stairs. I said, that's really interesting. Because we all hear, you know, interesting stories about that. He says, yeah, and then there was this time where I was sitting in a chair in the middle floor, and I was with 2 guys, and they were changing batteries in their gear. And I said, really? He said, yeah. He says, I was just sitting in this chair, and this thing started coming down the steps in view. I came off to the right and went into a doorway and come through a doorway right next to me. He said, it came all the way up to me, and he says, I just had this urge to reach out and touch it or grab it. He said, instead I said hello, and all of a sudden it started backtracking where it came from, backed all the way back up, and went back up the stairs. He said, that's kind of crazy. He says, yeah, I don't understand that. I don't get it. And I said, you were just sitting there. And he says, yeah. And I said, what were you guys doing? He says, they were changing batteries out. And I said, what were you talking about? He's like, nobody's talking. You know, they were just changing the batteries, and I was waiting for them to get done, so we're doing something else. I said, okay. And after a little bit of careful consideration, I said, you know what? I know what's going on. I'm going to use this. And he was like, what are you talking about? I said, give it some thought. Maybe you'll figure it out. I want to give it away. Because if I give it away, I'll be letting whatever's in this location possibly hear me, and that's good. So I didn't say anything. We stay in this location. It's getting closer and closer to midnight. Pretty soon comes a time when I said, all right, quick huddle up. All of us get together. We get really close. And I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have you start off. I want you to make some kind of a noise. I don't care what it is. You know, wad up a bag, or rattle your keys, or knock on the wall, or snap your fingers. I don't care. One noise for 5 seconds. 5 seconds. When you get done, then I want you to go next and do the same thing. But nobody's replicating anybody's noises. We're all doing different noises, okay? Different sounds. So then the second guy, he got his figured out. Then we'll go to the third person, and then so on and so forth. So we'll get all the way around the room. He goes, why are we doing it? I said, just do it. So we all split back up. He's got a camcorder aimed down the hallway, which is about the only way to get into the room. We cut the light off. You got dim light coming into the room. And that's so we can all see each other. We don't know where we're at. You make out the outlines of the furniture, a little bit better lighting than that. Really dim light and not dark. You can still see. We start making these noises. By the time we got to the fourth person, someone about 3 feet tall comes flying into the room like a flash, ink, you know, with a trail, just stops dead in front of me, less than 2 feet away. Head, shoulders, completely black. Now here's the cool thing. Behind that individual is a camcorder thing down the hallway, remember? You know how those camcorders got blinking red lights? Every time this thing would blink, it looked like a plasma ball effect coming through this shadow. So it's there, it's real, it's between us. Off to my right are three people, the family, and I'm just mesmerized and euphoric that there's this thing standing right in front of me. I'm on my knees and it's literally like here to me, right? And I can't believe that there's this thing here. It came to me because it reacted the way a human being would react in a similar situation. You ever been in your house and you ever heard a noise and you're like, what's that? Did you hear that? What is that? I mean, it's not similar. I mean, it's not the same if it was in your car. If you hear a noise in there, you know it's going to be bad. But in your house, you hear a noise, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get up, you're going to go find out what it is. You want to know what the situation is, something needs to be dealt with. And so, that's what happened. And that normal human reaction came to find out what was going on because I'm sure it heard all the voices down there that all filled. So, if you heard people talking in another room and you just quit, you might have thought we left. And so, that was a moment that, with that many witnesses in the room, I would have been able to touch this thing, but the teenage girl off my right went, and it said, flew out of the room. And as fast as it flew out of the room, everyone's like, and you could hear somebody off in the distance going, Mommy! Just like that. I thought that was really cool. Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So this thing was in front of the camera. Did the camera actually pick it up?
When it came down the hallway, it should have recorded. Now, the individual that has that camcorder footage, he will not show it. And I don't know if it did or it didn't. But after that moment, I wanted him to show everybody there. See, his claim was nothing came up on it. I figured that maybe something did and they were going to use it in some kind of monetary way. But I never looked at my camcorder, so I couldn't do anything about it.
We were in a place once, a lady saw an apparition. You can see her react to it on the camera. You can see her go get her friend out of bed and come in the room and describe what the thing was doing. And I had a camera 10 feet away from it and I recorded nothing.
See, and that's weird. That's true, because I've seen things with my own eyes and never turn up on a camcorder. That's weird. It makes you wonder if there's something optically we have that camcorder mechanically doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, we covered a lot of that stuff. Fool me twice rule. After this went down, that individual that I was telling you about had a camcorder suddenly became really tight buddies with the Billy that ran the operation out there. And he was doing tours for people to come out. They would host tours for Billy so that Billy didn't have to go out there every time himself. And what this individual learned is that once you play something like this on something that you fooled, you're just like we are. We ain't fooling me twice. He tried it endlessly, could never get it to work again. Now, obviously, this is something you can try in a location if it's not been done before. But I guarantee you, you're not going to do it twice. Not unless there's different spirits somehow there that haven't been either told about it by a different spirit or, you know what I mean? And they have to talk to each other. So that's a very important thing to me. You know? The first line is so true. A lot of people, I hate people who think that spirits are like trapping animals. Or you're going to try and catch this. It's not about that. You're literally dealing with intelligence and another individual that's no different than if they were alive. They just have that advantage of being able to move the speed of thought, and they don't have to leave if they don't want to. Make sense? Questions? Good. This is one of the most important things that I think a lot of people overlook. A lot of investigators are go out to locations, they do their work, capture EVPs, this, that, and the other. I've got this, I caught this stuff on video, and this, that, and the other. What are your protocols? What did you get? How did you protect or preserve the location? How can you prove that, things were in place that would prevent any kind of tampering or accidental involvement of another member of your team and things like that? This is something that means the world to me I design hardware and test materials. In fact, there's a gadget back there right now. Robin's got the hands that I use. It's a new test device that I haven't really been able to test in the field enough. And it's a modification on the request signs that I got. That's really cool. It's meant to try and learn what it is that we can figure out about what they can interact with on our side. Their ability to interact with physical. Okay. Again, this should all make sense. If you're not doing it, you need to be doing it. You need to keep the logs about who's doing where at what time and when, especially if you're getting any views. I was with a group one time, we were knocking down a hall. You could be on any floor. If two groups were out, I could hear both of them. And can you imagine reviewing your audio and you, well, it wasn't me and it wasn't Jim, you know, it's a female voice. Well, there was a group right below me on the floor below, you know. You got to account for stuff like that. You can sit and say all day, well, it wasn't them, but how do you know for sure? Because sound care. It's best to go out with a single team. And if you're going out with two teams, going somewhere far enough apart that it's an impossibility to catch each other. Just little things like that. It's nice. There's a team that I work with. They literally take camcorders with them and hold them like this, so that when they're doing their AVP sessions, you can see if anybody's mouth is moving, which is really cool. They also, when they go into a location, you want to make sure that you don't have anybody sneaking into the property and doing things, you know, kind of pump it up. Maybe they're not getting enough activity to keep people to keep coming out there, whatever. I've encountered that. So we set up devices to make sure that if any doors move or open, alarms are triggered. We got motion sensors in the hallways. I got a system I've designed that you can use, sprinkle out, you know, throughout a location, and anytime a motion sensor is triggered, it'll send a signal back to a base station. You go, boom, okay, unit 5. That's in the hallway upstairs. You just have that trigger at the time there. And you can take these and just run them around, scatter. You get an individual ID number, and it helps you protect the location, preserve everything. So that needs a road name. I spend more time building gadgets for this and test gadgets than I do going out and buying something with the word ghost. When I first started out, you could put anything with the word ghost on. I bought it. I spent so much money, and I didn't need it because I didn't know. Okay. There we go. I think we're there. Any questions on any of that stuff? Yeah.
This is not psychological, but it was something that I brought up when you guys were doing your podcast the other night. So people have allergies normally to animals, that animal. Have you ever had an allergy to a ghost? Has it ever reacted?
I have. But that's not to say that if there's a pet ever on a location that there may be leftover animal, wood floors or something still in
I
there.
just worry about that, sometimes you'll get, you can smell, but sometimes you'll also get odors.
Yeah.
Could you, if you provide that allergy?
It's a good question. I don't know about that. I mean, my thing is, I encounter something like that. My first thought would be how clean is the place, how recent is the passing, stuff like that. That's one of the things I kind of struggle with. People bring animals in to eat somewhere, and I'm sitting here, and they're sitting there. I'm like, okay, hopefully this isn't going to my face isn't going twice the size of my finished bowl of soup. So, I get it.
And the reason you brought that up, I'll talk about that first. On our podcast, that we were in a place, and it was known to have cats at one time.
Yeah.
Someone back in the 80s, and she was known to have like 30, 40 cats. I went sleeping on the couch, and all night, I was seeing cats. I'm allergic to them. And I wake up at one point, my hand's like this, hanging over the couch, and I'm like, petting a cat. And I went back to sleep, and about 2 hours later, I sit up, and I'm
That is a good
And
question.
we heard this, we heard
that.
the other day, we were just sitting in the dining room talking to, the lady that owns the place. And we all heard that, and we're like, what they were all doing.
Then it followed us.
Yeah,
The whole notion of animals and experiencing things. That was kind of interesting for me early on, the second year I was actually doing this. I came home after investigation, I was tired, I ready to go to bed. And we had 2 dogs at the time. And I remember I was going to bed, and when I lay in bed, on my side, there's a clear view of the shop all the way down the hallway with an open door, over to the kitchen where they had the water bowls and stuff. And I remember I was hearing a noise there. Oh man, that made a racket. But when I looked, I didn't see anything hit the bowl. What I did see was a dog that was not a dog I remember or recognized. And I thought, my wife's my own guy. It's scary. So I thought, well, I guess we'll have her talk in the morning, you know? And, while I was looking at this dog going, what did she get? What is this? You know, what kind of dog is this? What we got now? And I'm looking at it and like a light switch was just gone while I was looking at it. 2 dogs that I had were coming over to drink out of the bowl right there and ignoring the fact that there's a new dog in the house. I thought that was kind of weird. So that only happened one time, but I just thought it was interesting enough to, you know, to say, well, did I really just see that? So anyway, that's all I got. You know, I got, let's see if, I've got copies of this. It's got more information than I ever shared up here. You're welcome to get those if you need them. I'll be able to take whatever I know what's going on. So I'm not going to keep you guys,